She walked out of her door on Christmas Eve looking excited, and nobody knew that would be the last time she would ever be seen alive. It was December 24, 2021. The city of Jos, the capital of Plateau State, Nigeria, was full of life that day. People were shopping, visiting family, making plans for the holiday season. It was supposed to be a happy time. And for Jennifer, a 300 level student of special education and rehabilitation sciences at the University of Jos, that day felt full of hope. Jennifer was 23 years old. She was a focused young woman with clear goals. She had already mapped out what she wanted for her future. She was not the type to sit around and wait. She was the kind of person who went after things, and that drive was something everyone around her admired. Her family back in Ibadan was proud of her. She was the doctor who had gone out to make something of herself. She was in Jos, building her life one step at a time. That morning, Jennifer got dressed carefully. She put on black trousers and a maroon t-shirt. She looked clean and presentable, the kind of look you put on when you want to make a good impression. She told her close friend and roommate Jessica Doom that she was going out to submit her CV for a job. This was not strange at all. Many students were doing the same thing that period, sending out applications, looking for opportunities, trying to build something even while still in school. Jessica watched her friend walk out the door that day. She had no reason to worry. Jennifer was a responsible person. She always let people know where she was going. She was always reachable. She was always online. In fact, one of the things people knew about Jennifer was that she loved social media. She was always posting, always active, always connected. So for anyone who knew her, it would be very strange if Jennifer suddenly went quiet. That evening, the hours began to pass and Jennifer did not come back. Jessica started to feel uneasy. She picked up her phone and called Jennifer. The phone rang, it connected, but Jennifer said nothing, not a word. The line was completely silent. She called her name, nothing. She called again, still nothing. Then the line went dead. She tried again. This time the phone did not even ring. It was switched off. Now Jessica was really worried. Jennifer never switched her phone off. That was not who she was. A person who loved social media, who was always reachable, who never missed a call from her friends, had just gone completely silent. Something was wrong. Jessica knew it in her bones. The next few days were a nightmare of waiting. One day passed, then two, then three. No call, no message, no post on social media, nothing. Jessica checked Jennifer's pages. Silence. She asked mutual friends. Nobody had heard from her. Christmas came and went. The new year was approaching and Jennifer Anthony had simply vanished. By December 31, 2021, New Year's Eve, Jessica could not hold it together anymore. She made an official post on social media, sharing Jennifer's photo and description, and begged anyone with information about her whereabouts to come forward. The post spread quickly across different platforms. People began to share it. The name Jennifer Anthony started circulating across Jos, across Plateau State, and eventually across the country. Everyone was asking the same question: where is Jennifer? But even as people shared the posts, even as the search began, Jennifer was already beyond saving. She had been beyond saving for days. The cheerful young woman in the black trousers and maroon t-shirt had already met her end inside a guest house on Zaranda Road in Jos, and nobody even knew it yet. While the rest of Nigeria was counting down to a new year with fireworks and celebrations, something terrible was being discovered inside a room at Domus Pacis Guest House in Jos. On the morning of January 1st, 2022, the management of Domus Pacis Guest House went about their normal New Year morning routines. Guests were checking out, rooms were being cleaned, and staff were doing their work. But when a staff member went to check one particular room, they did not find an empty bed or a sleeping guest. What they found stopped them cold. Inside that room was a scene no person should ever have to see. The remains of a young woman lay on the bed, surrounded by blood. The bed sheet was soaked through. But what made this discovery even more horrifying was the condition of the body. The young woman had not simply been unalived. She had been mutilated. One of her eyes had been completely removed. Other parts of her body were missing. Items that belonged to her were scattered around the room. It was clear to everyone who saw the scene that this was not an ordinary crime. The nature of what had been done to this young woman pointed to something deeply sinister, something that went far beyond a robbery or a fight gone wrong. The hotel manager wasted no time. He immediately contacted the police. By 3:30 that same afternoon, officers from the Plateau State Police Command had arrived at the scene. A surveillance team was deployed. The young woman's remains were carefully evacuated and taken to Plateau Specialist Hospital, where doctors confirmed her death. Her remains were then deposited at the hospital mortuary as the investigation officially began. Now here is the part that will shake you. When Jennifer's friend, Jessica Dong, received a call asking her to come to the guest house on Zaranda Road to identify someone, her heart dropped. She had spent the last week hoping, praying, refreshing her phone for a message that never came. She went to the guest house. She saw Jennifer's clothes. She saw her personal belongings scattered on the floor. And she knew. She knew before anyone told her. The friend she had watched walk out the door on Christmas Eve was gone. This is where I want to stop and ask you something. Before we continue with this story, I need you to think about Jennifer for a moment. She was just 23. She had goals. She had a family who loved her. She had a friend who cared enough to fight for her when she disappeared. She did not deserve what happened to her. If this story is touching you, if you believe Jennifer deserves justice and her story deserves to be told, please hit the subscribe button right now on Trem Crime Zone. Every time you subscribe, you help make sure stories like Jennifer's reach more people. You help make sure these victims are never forgotten. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a single video. Now, back to the investigation.
The police had a body and a crime scene. What they needed was a suspect. They began the way most investigations begin, by looking at Jennifer's personal life, her relationships, the people she had been in contact with in the days before she disappeared. And very quickly, one name came up. His name was Moses Oko. Moses Oko was 20 years old. He was a 300-level student in the Department of Zoology at the University of Jos, the same school Jennifer attended. He was also believed to be Jennifer's boyfriend. His father, Mr. Joseph Oko, was a lecturer at the very same university. Moses and Jennifer had been seeing each other for some time, and on December 24, 2021, the same night Jennifer told Jessica she was going to submit a CV, Jennifer ended up inside that guest house room with Moses. The police declared Moses Oko wanted. They launched what the Plateau State Commissioner of Police, CP Bartholomew Onyeka, later described as an aggressive manhunt. Moses' photos were circulated on social media. His face was everywhere. The public was asked to help find him. He had fled after the incident, and the police were determined to track him down no matter where he had gone. But finding Moses Oko would not be as simple as the police expected, because by the time they began looking for him, Moses Oko was not hiding in the shadows or running from city to city like a fugitive. He was in a very unexpected place, and the story his family would tell the police when they found him would raise questions that nobody could fully answer. Here's a question I want you to think about as we go into this chapter. If someone close to you was found in a psychiatric hospital just days after a terrible crime, would you believe they were really unwell, or would you think it was an act? That is exactly the question that was hanging in the air when the police finally tracked Moses Oko down. They did not find him in another city living a normal life. They did not find him hiding in a forest or with friends. They found him in a private psychiatric facility in Makurdi, the capital of Benue State, chained to a bed and heavily sedated. According to his father, Joseph Oko, the family had been dealing with Moses' troubling behavior for some time before the incident. It had all started when his father noticed that Moses had been smoking cannabis. The discovery of this led to serious arguments in the family home. Moses, who had once been quiet and respectful, had started to change. He became aggressive at times, then withdrawn at others. The changes were alarming. Then, one day, Moses took his father's car without permission and disappeared. When he finally turned up, it was a friend who brought him back. He was in a terrible state. He had clearly been beaten up. His body was covered in bruises. His speech did not make sense. He was confused and erratic. His parents were frightened. They did not know what to do. Someone suggested a psychiatrist, but when that word was mentioned, Moses reportedly became furious. He told his own parents they were demons. He refused to go anywhere.
Eventually, the family managed to get Moses into a vehicle to travel from Jos to Makurdi for treatment. But the journey itself was its own horror. At some point on the road, Moses opened the car door and tried to jump out while the vehicle was still moving. His father had to physically drag him back. When the car stopped, Moses jumped out again, shouting that the car was full of evil beings. It took enormous effort from everyone present to get him back in and continue the journey. When they arrived in Makurdi, Moses was admitted to a private clinic. He was placed in restraints. His hands and legs were chained to keep him from hurting himself or others. He was heavily medicated. He was later transferred to Benue State University Teaching Hospital, where doctors reportedly diagnosed him with acute psychotic disorder. Now, here is where it gets complicated. On the very same day that Moses was lying in that hospital bed, sedated and in chains, his sister saw something on social media that changed everything. She saw that the police in Plateau State had declared her brother wanted for the unaliving of his girlfriend, Jennifer Anthony. She immediately told her father. Mr. Joseph Oko, to his credit, did not try to run or hide. He contacted the police in Makurdi and then traveled to Jos to meet with investigators directly. He walked into the Plateau State Police Command headquarters and told them everything. He explained that his son was in a psychiatric hospital in Benue State, that he had been admitted there before the incident involving Jennifer, and that the family had taken him there for genuine medical reasons. The Commissioner of Police reportedly received him and listened to his account. But the police were not fully convinced. They traveled to Makurdi, went to the psychiatric facility, and took Moses out of the hospital against the advice of the doctors who were treating him. Both Moses and his father were brought back to Jos. Both were detained. Though the elder Oko was not placed in a cell, Moses was held in custody. Now, here is something important I want you to think about. When Moses arrived at the psychiatric facility, his hair was shaved off. Jennifer's friend Jessica Dung noted this when speaking to journalists. She said the police believed someone had advised Moses to shave his dreadlocks so that he would be harder to identify and could appear to be a genuine mental patient. Moses had previously worn dreadlocks. Shaving them off at that particular time, right after the incident, raised serious suspicion. Now, I want to pause here again and remind you of something. These kinds of stories, the ones with layers and twists and questions that do not have easy answers, are what Trem Crime Zone is built for. We do not just tell you what happened, we ask the hard questions too. If you are watching this and you are not yet subscribed, take 5 seconds right now and click that subscribe button. There are more stories like this one coming. Stories that will shock you, confuse you, and make you think. You do not want to miss any of them. Subscribe to Trem Crime Zone. You belong here. Back to Moses Oko. On February 22, 2022, Moses was arraigned in Jos High Court on 2 counts. The first was mischief, the second was culpable homicide. The trial began on March 3, 2022. But what happened inside that courtroom would add yet another layer to this already complicated case. When the case was called at 10:15 in the morning, Moses refused to speak. The court clerk tried to administer the oath to him. Silence. His name was called Silence. His defense lawyer told the court that his client was mentally unstable, that he had been showing signs of mental illness and could not bear the weight of the charges against him. The prosecution was not buying it. The prosecutor pointed out that just 5 minutes before his case was called, people in the courtroom had heard Moses talking to his parents and his lawyer. She argued that someone who was talking normally just 5 minutes earlier could not suddenly become completely mute. She also noted that medical examinations carried out on Moses while he was in custody had come back showing that he was in a stable mental condition. The defense insisted that his mental state was unstable and that he was seeing different kinds of spirits. The judge looked at the medical report, noted it showed no abnormality, and ordered the trial to continue. The charges were read to Moses again: culpable homicide, mischief. The court asked him to respond. He said nothing, not a word.
There are cases that get resolved neatly, where every question finds an answer and justice is delivered clearly and completely. This is not one of those cases, and that is exactly why it needs to be talked about. Jennifer Anthony left her room on December 24, 2021, wearing black trousers and a maroon t-shirt. She told her friend she was going to submit a CV. She ended up at Domus Pacis Guest House on Zaranda Road in Jos. By January 1, 2022, her remains were found in that hotel room, mutilated in a way that shocked an entire nation. She was 23 years old. Moses Oko, her boyfriend and fellow University of Jos student, was declared wanted by the Plateau State Police Command. He was eventually found in a psychiatric facility in Makurdi, Benue State. His father, Joseph Oko, a lecturer at the University of Jos, cooperated with the police and brought the matter to their attention himself. Moses was taken from the hospital, brought back to Jos, and arraigned in court on charges of mischief and culpable homicide. At his first court appearance, he refused to speak, and after that, the public trail of updates went cold. There are questions in this case that still have no clear answers. We do not know with certainty whether Moses was admitted to the psychiatric hospital before or after December 24, 2021. The timeline matters enormously. If he was admitted before that date, it raises serious questions about whether someone else could have been involved in what happened to Jennifer. If he was admitted after, it raises questions about whether the mental illness was genuine or manufactured to build a defense. We know that a blood-soaked bedsheet was found at the scene. We know that a fork stained with blood was paraded alongside Moses as a suspected instrument used in the crime. We know that Jennifer's remains showed signs of mutilation that pointed investigators toward the possibility of a ritual-related motive. We know that Moses had his dreadlocks shaved off before his arrest, something that Jennifer's friend Jessica noted was suspicious. What we do not know is whether Moses was ever convicted. After the dramatic events in Jos High Court in early 2022, no confirmed updates have emerged about the outcome of the trial. Jennifer's family is still waiting. Her parents and siblings, her friends like Jessica, the people who shared her picture across social media begging for answers, they are still waiting for the justice system to deliver a final verdict. But even with all the unanswered questions, this story teaches us something important, something we need to carry with us.
Jennifer did nothing wrong. She was a student doing what students do. She had goals, she had a CV she was submitting, she had a future she was building, and yet she was gone before the new year even began. She is not just a case number or a headline, she was a real person who deserved to live, to graduate, to work, to laugh, to grow old. The fact that her story ended the way it did is a tragedy that should make all of us stop and think. This case also shows us how important it is to speak up quickly when something feels wrong. When Jessica noticed Jennifer had gone quiet and had switched off her phone, something she never did, she raised the alarm. She did not wait, she made the post, she pushed for answers. Because of her, Jennifer's name did not disappear. Because of her, the police were alerted and the investigation began. If you're ever in a situation where your gut is telling you something is not right about a friend, do not ignore that feeling. Act on it. Your instinct might be the thing that makes the difference. This story also asks us a harder question. What do we do when the justice system is slow or unclear? When someone is arraigned, when charges are filed, but then updates stop coming? Too many cases in Nigeria follow this pattern. A crime shocks the nation, arrests are made, headlines are written, and then, slowly, the story fades from public attention and the families are left to navigate a legal system alone, quietly, without the spotlight that was there in the beginning. Jennifer Anthony deserves better than that. Every victim deserves better than that. And that brings us to the final question, the one we want you to answer right here on Trem Crime Zone. Do you believe Moses Oko was truly mentally unwell, or do you think his behavior in court was part of a strategy to escape justice? Write your answer in the comment section. We read every single comment. Your thoughts matter. Your voice matters. This is a community where real conversations happen about real stories that affect real people. Before you go, do not forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear Jennifer's story. Every share keeps her memory alive. Every view is one more person who now knows her name. And if you have not subscribed to Trem Crime Zone yet, do it right now. We bring you true crime stories from Nigeria and beyond, told in a way that respects the victims, challenges the facts, and keeps you informed. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. There is so much more coming, and you do not want to be the last to know. Rest in peace, Jennifer Anthony. Your story will not be forgotten.